Welcome to Reddit Revenge Stories. Did you know over 90% of people watch these videos but don't subscribe? If you enjoy stories of justice and payback, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to like the video if you're ready for today's story. Let's get to the story. I always thought marriage was supposed to be a partnership, two people navigating life together, supporting one another through every storm. I believed that with my whole heart. For almost 9 years, I lived by that principle, giving my all to the woman I called my wife. Her name was Olivia. We met in college, dated for 3 years, and got married right after graduation. Back then, we were just two broke kids with big dreams, and not a lot of money. But we had each other, and that felt like enough. I remember our first apartment. It was small, just one bedroom and a kitchen that doubled as a hallway. But it was ours. We painted the walls ourselves, stayed up late talking about what our future kids might look like, and scraped by on ramen noodles and cheap instant coffee. There was something beautiful about the struggle back then. I used to think those memories would be the foundation of a strong marriage. But I was wrong. Things started to shift about 3 years ago. I'd just gotten a promotion at my job, a big one. I went from middle management to director level overnight. The pay was great, the respect even better, but the hours were long. I started coming home later, missing dinner more often, buried in meetings and emails. Olivia was supportive, or at least she pretended to be. She'd say things like, "I'm proud of you," and "We're doing this together." But her eyes told a different story. There was a distance growing between us, and I didn't know how to close it. I'd ask her how her day was, and she'd give me the same routine answers. It was fine. Nothing new. Just errands. But I noticed her phone never left her side. She'd laugh at messages, quickly lock her screen when I walked into the room, and spend more and more time meeting friends I didn't know well or hadn't met at all. At first, I didn't think much of it. I trusted her. Or maybe I wanted to believe I could still trust her. One night, around 10 p.m., I got home after a long day. My back ached from sitting at the office too long and my head was pounding. I walked in to find Olivia laughing on the phone, a wine glass in her hand, music playing softly in the background. When she saw me, her laughter stopped abruptly. "Hey," I said, tossing my keys into the bowl by the door. "Oh, you're home," she replied. Just those 3 words. No hug, no smile, just a cool acknowledgement. Then she said into the phone, "I'll call you later," and hung up. I wanted to believe it was nothing. Maybe a friend, maybe her sister. But deep down, something told me that wasn't the case. I brushed it off and tried to enjoy what little time we had left in the evening. She went to bed early that night, claiming she had a headache. I stayed up, staring at the ceiling, wondering when exactly things had started to slip. Over the next few weeks, the signs became harder to ignore. She was suddenly dressing up more often, even just to go to the grocery store. She had new clothes, new perfume, and a new energy I couldn't explain. I wanted to confront her, but every time I tried, I froze. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was denial. But I kept pretending things were fine, hoping the truth would go away on its own. It didn't. The turning point came on a Friday night. I left work early, wanting to surprise Olivia. I picked up her favorite dinner, Thai food from that place on 5th Street, and headed home with flowers in hand. I even stopped by the bakery to get those cupcakes she loved. I was smiling like an idiot the whole way home, thinking maybe, just maybe, we could reconnect. When I pulled into the driveway, I noticed a car I didn't recognize parked outside our house. At first, I thought it might be a friend or maybe a neighbor visiting, but something told me not to go in through the front door. I parked around the corner, came in through the back, and quietly entered the house. The lights were dim. I heard laughter coming from the living room, low and intimate. My stomach twisted. I moved closer, heart pounding, and peeked around the corner. There she was, Olivia, sitting on the couch, too close to a man I didn't know. He had his hand on her knee and she wasn't pulling away. They weren't kissing, not yet, but the energy between them was unmistakable. It was the kind of closeness you don't share with just anyone. I stood there, frozen. 1,000 thoughts rushed through my mind. I wanted to storm in, throw the food on the floor, yell, cry, anything. But instead, I turned around and walked out. I sat in my car for an hour, food untouched, flowers wilting beside me. I couldn't bring myself to go back in. When I finally did, the other car was gone. Olivia was in the kitchen, acting like nothing had happened. "Where were you?" she asked, pretending to be casual. "Got caught in traffic," I lied. She nodded, didn't press. That hurt more than I expected. She didn't care where I'd been, didn't notice the bag of cold food in my hand or the melted cupcakes in the passenger seat. I realized in that moment that I didn't know this woman anymore. The girl I married, the one who danced barefoot in the kitchen and cried during sad movies, she was gone. Over the next few days, I went into detective mode. I didn't want to believe it until I had a proof. I checked our shared phone records, looked for unfamiliar numbers, and sure enough, one kept popping up. I wrote it down. I started noticing patterns. Times she said she was out shopping matched calls and texts to that same number. I even called it once, but he didn't answer. I didn't leave a message. I wasn't ready to confront her yet. I needed a plan. I needed to think. So I waited. I watched. I listened. Eventually, I found out who he was. His name was Bryce. He worked at a nearby gym, part-time trainer, full-time snake. He was 6 years younger than Olivia and lived in a studio apartment above a pizza shop. Not exactly Prince Charming. What got me the most wasn't that she was cheating. It was that she was doing it so recklessly, like I didn't even matter. Like all those years, all those nights, I stayed up comforting her through her mother's illness, helping her through job interviews, celebrating her every little win. None of it meant anything. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell everyone what she'd done. But I stayed quiet. I pretended everything was fine, smiling when she walked into the room, kissing her on the forehead before bed. But inside, I was unraveling. One night, I watched her leave the house dressed like she was going to a red carpet event. She said she was meeting an old college friend. I nodded, kissed her cheek, and told her to have fun. Then I followed her. I stayed far enough behind that she wouldn't notice, and sure enough, she met him. At a bar across town. They laughed, shared drinks, and left together. That was the night I decided I wouldn't confront her, not yet. I would play the long game. If she wanted to act like I didn't matter, I'd show her just how wrong she was. She thought I was naive. She thought I'd never find out. But she was about to learn who I really was. The man she married might have been soft, trusting, maybe even a little too forgiving. But the man standing in his place now, he was planning something she'd never see coming. It's a strange thing, pretending to love someone who's betrayed you. Every smile becomes a lie. Every moment together feels like a performance. But I kept at it. Not because I still loved Olivia, because I didn't. That part of me had been buried the moment I saw her with Bryce. No, I kept pretending because I needed time. I needed space to plan something not just satisfying, but unforgettable. You see, revenge isn't about getting even. It's about changing the game. Olivia had gambled our marriage on a thrill, and she thought she'd gotten away with it. But I was about to take away the one thing she never saw coming. Her peace, her pride, and the illusion of control she thought she held over me. First, I stopped talking to people. That may sound odd, but I needed everyone to think everything was fine. I wanted no slip-ups. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't tell my colleagues. I became a ghost with a smile on his face. At home, I was the same doting husband, asking how her day was, cooking her favorite meals, listening to her go on about her book club meetings and gym visits. All lies. But I let her lie. I gave her the space to hang herself with her own rope. What Olivia didn't know was that I'd already hired a private investigator. His name was Curtis, a retired cop with a quiet voice and a sharp instinct. I met him in a coffee shop on the other side of town. I handed him a folder with what I already knew, Bryce's number, his name, a few places they'd been spotted. Curtis promised discretion, and he delivered. Within 2 weeks, I had everything. Photos, videos, time-stamped receipts. They met at hotels, restaurants, parks, even once in our own house when I was away on a business trip. That one hit hard. Seeing her in our living room with another man was like a knife in the gut. But I didn't let it break me, it just fueled the fire. I made backups of everything. kept the originals on a hidden hard drive at work, uploaded the rest to a secure cloud account under a fake name. I wasn't going to use any of it until the timing was perfect. And that timing came sooner than I expected. It started with Olivia hinting that we should sell the house and downsize. I knew what she was doing. She wanted to liquidate assets without raising suspicion. I played along. Sure, I said, maybe we could use a fresh start. She smiled like she had just won a game I wasn't even playing. But while she was dreaming of a new apartment with Bryce, I was building something else. A paper trail. I opened a separate bank account in my name only, funneled part of my paycheck into it every month. I canceled the joint credit card and claimed we were overspending. She didn't question it. I adjusted my direct deposit so she didn't even notice the missing money. Next, I met with a lawyer. Her name was Samantha Gray, sharp as a blade and absolutely ruthless in court. I told her everything. I showed her the photos, the videos, the receipts. She raised an eyebrow and said, "You have enough to bury her." I nodded. "I don't want to bury her," I said. "I want her to watch the dirt fall." Samantha helped me set up the next phase, transferring major assets under my name, getting the divorce paperwork ready, and most importantly, preparing a strategy that would leave Olivia with as little as legally possible. In our state, infidelity still mattered in court. Not always, but if handled right, with evidence and the right judge, it could sway decisions on alimony, property division, and more. But I wasn't done yet. A few days later, Olivia came home humming a tune. She was glowing, happy in a way I hadn't seen in years. It was insulting, really, how obvious it had become. I asked her if she wanted to go away for a weekend, just the two of us. A little rekindling trip. Her eyes lit up, and she said yes. I could see it in her face. She thought I was falling for her all over again. She probably thought I was clueless. That made me smile because this trip wasn't for love. It was for the performance of a lifetime. We went to a cozy cabin near a lake. I chose the place carefully, isolated, beautiful, with just enough cell service for a text to get through. The first day we went hiking, made dinner together, even watched a movie by the fireplace. It almost felt normal again. Almost. That night, as she fell asleep next to me, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. I thought about our wedding day, her vows, my promises, how it all felt like a joke now. But I didn't feel sad. I felt ready. On the second day after breakfast, I told her I had something to show her. I pulled out my laptop and opened a folder labeled Memories. She laughed, thinking it was going to be old photos of us. It wasn't. Instead, I played the first video, her and Bryce at a cafe holding hands, then the hotel footage, then her coming out of the gym parking lot and getting into his car. Her face turned white. "What is this?" she whispered. "I think you know," I said calmly. She tried to speak, but I raised my hand. "I'm not interested in excuses, Olivia. I know everything. I've known for months." Tears welled up in her eyes. "Please." "No," I interrupted. "You don't get to cry. You don't get to feel bad. I gave you everything. I worked myself to the bone so we could have a life together. And you threw it away for a fling with a guy who probably uses protein powder more than shampoo." She looked stunned. I could see the panic setting in. "I'm filing for divorce," I continued. "You'll be served within a week. My lawyer already has everything. The judge will see it all." She covered her mouth, shaking. "You're ruining me," I laughed. "No, Olivia, you ruined yourself. I'm just documenting the crash." She begged, pleaded, even got down on her knees. But it was too late. The man who once would have forgiven her was gone. In his place was someone who had been planning every move like a chess game. And now, checkmate. I drove us home in silence. She didn't say a word. When we got back, she tried to talk to me again, but I walked past her and locked the bedroom door behind me. Over the next week, the fallout began. She got served. She tried to fight it, but the evidence was airtight. Her lawyer looked defeated at the first meeting. Samantha was relentless. We got the house. I kept my retirement accounts. She got nothing but the car she came into the marriage with and a small savings account, barely enough to rent a one-bedroom apartment. Then came the social fallout. See, I didn't go public immediately. But once the divorce was underway, I sent a very carefully written message to a few mutual friends. I didn't slander her. I didn't insult her. I just laid out the truth. Dates, facts, screenshots. And people took sides. Turns out, most people don't look kindly on betrayal, especially when it's laid out like a case file. She lost friends, lost her gym clients. Even Bryce, from what I heard, distanced himself once things got messy. Apparently, cheating with a married woman was fun until it became a legal drama. Last I heard, he ghosted her. Poetic. I wasn't interested in dating again. Not yet. But I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. I could come home and not wonder where she was. I could breathe without suspicion. I could sleep knowing I hadn't been made a fool of. I'd simply waited until the right moment to show just how strong I could be. And the best part? I never yelled. I never threw things. I never lost control. I simply watched the consequences unfold. It's strange how quiet life becomes after the storm passes. No more shouting matches, no fake smiles across the dinner table, no guilt, festering under every kind word. Just silence and peace. Real peace. I hadn't felt that in years. After the divorce was finalized, Olivia moved out. No dramatic goodbye, no heartfelt apology. Just a few boxes and a slammed door. I watched her drive away without flinching. That chapter of my life had closed. People often ask me why I didn't just leave the moment I found out, why I stayed and played along. The answer's simple. I wanted her to know what it felt like to be outplayed, to realize slowly and painfully that she wasn't as clever as she thought, that the man she thought was too passive, too soft, had been steps ahead all along. I kept everything she gave up. The house, my pride, my reputation, and I did it without ever raising my voice. A few weeks after everything settled, I ran into Bryce at a gas station. He looked rough, unshaven, tired, like someone who'd finally realized the cost of his decisions. He tried to act casual, like he didn't see me, but I walked up to him anyway. "Hey," I said calmly. He turned. "Look, man, I didn't mean—" I raised a hand to stop him. "Don't flatter yourself. I'm not here for closure. I just wanted you to know something." He blinked. "What?" "She lost everything, and so did you." I walked away after that. Didn't wait for a response. I didn't need one. Now my life isn't perfect. I still feel the sting sometimes, of betrayal, of wasted years. But I don't let it define me. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, and every step forward reminded me of one simple truth. Being broken doesn't make you weak. Staying broken does. And I refuse to stay broken. So, yeah, this is my story. Not of heartbreak, but of survival. Not of anger, but of quiet revenge. I didn't need to destroy her. I just needed her to watch me live without her. And that was enough.